Nancy Pelosi, got to get on to Nancy Pelosi. Here she is saying that basically unless Brexit turns out the way that she likes, and this pertains mainly to the issue of the Irish border, then they will pull back on trade negotiations and basically beat Britain around the head on trade. Same sort of threat tone as Obama said when he said over there with David Cameron, if you don't vote to stay in the EU, Britain, we'll put you at the end of the queue. Now, that's not the special relationship we always used to think they had.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's actually really quite, as you say, unneighborly, or it's actually, you know, uncordial here. But let's remember three things about this situation. Number one, it is not the U.S. Congress's job to set foreign policy, okay? They approve treaties that are signed by the president, but they do not set foreign policy. That is not their job. Number two, Nancy Pelosi is supposedly the responsible Democrat in all of this. So when you talk about all the lunatics of the Squad and AOC and Ilhan Omar, you know, that's where the Democrat Party is heading right now, that far over to the left. But, you know, the third thing, this sounds a bit like a bit of foreign interference to me. I mean, you know, to have one government telling another, you got to do what we say or otherwise, you know, we're going to heavy you on this other thing. That's not the way allies and special relationships behave. But on the point of law of this, if the president signs a deal with Britain and sends it to the Congress under fast-track authority, the House, the lower house, has to introduce that legislation that the White House sends, and then it's actually up to the Congress to decide what goes on with that. And there'll be a lot of, I think, Democrats who will be seeing an advantage for the United States in a free trade agreement with Britain, and who will also be seeing, with elections coming up, that they don't want to be on the wrong side of Trump and getting sucked into this whole far-left woke Squad business with Nancy Pelosi. It would be suicidal for them.
Yeah, I want to get it clear that I'm right on the Five Eyes, so there's no complaints. US, Australia, UK, Canada, New Zealand and us. Jane, Pelosi, what do you think?
Nancy Pelosi, look, I agree that with everything that James has said, but also, I mean, because John Bolton from the Trump team had just been there and said they would support a no-deal Brexit and looking at doing some special deal maybe as early as the G7 in France, I think this is just Nancy Pelosi posturing and trying to have another crack at Donald Trump. I mean, OK, so even if she had the power, even if she could, what, she would harm American interests? We know how difficult it's been for US farmers with their soybeans and their corn, getting them into China. So she would further harm them just to score political points. I reckon, keep talking, Nancy. This is the kind of stuff that drives voters mad, Peter.
Well, she's from California, it probably plays to her base, but nonetheless, everybody else is turning off.